Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching TVC Breakfast, and our next issue of discussion centers around the outcome of petrol subsidy removal, which still remains a major concern for many Nigerians. Well, for the Nigerian Labour Congress, they believe the government can do more than sharing a bag of rice as palliatives. In a recent statement by the Assistant General Secretary of the NLC, Christopher Onyeka, he says the executive arm of government had given 100 million naira to each member of the National Assembly as palliatives. But the House has denied this claim, saying it's baseless and void of factual accuracy. And they've now demanded an immediate retraction of what they call a lie and a public apology from the Nigerian Labour Congress. So joining us here in the studio to discuss whether this is true or not, or to even build more on the position of the National Assembly, we have from the House of Representatives, who represents the Lekki Federal Constituency, Honorable Bayo Balogun. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
On
Good morning.
TVC Breakfast. Tell us more about, or what do you make of these claims by the NLC?
Well, it's rather unfortunate. This is a time where our president is going around the world trying to make a better image for Nigeria, trying to make life better for Nigerians. Yes, first, I want to thank every Nigerian for the time we are passing through. It's a very tough period. We know people are actually trying to cope, but there's no time where we start insinuating situations that can seriously cause crisis in this country. This is a situation where people are going through a tough period, and Mr. President is doing his best. He has gotten a deal for Nigeria in UAE, where the visa situation has been lingering for a long period. He did that while he had even his job on the line. When the tribunal was still going on, he was out of the country doing his best, not minding what might be the outcome of the tribunal. This is someone who is selfless and is trying to make sure that we catch up with all the losses we have in the previous government. So, and for NLC to now come with such a phantom lie against the National Assembly. We were on break and none of us have been able to go home. Many other committees have been working. I'm working one of the other committees, which was the Green Ward, which was said to have spent so much money on planting trees, which was supposed to be blocking the encroachment of the Sahara Desert. Everybody is still working on the National Assembly, despite the fact that we are supposed to be on break. Mr. President is working around the clock. So I believe the NLC should be looking at ways to ensure that they do their main mandate of helping out with their members. So it's not going to help anybody going out and say, even if it is 1 naira at this period, less about 100 million naira per member. For what? To do what? And on what basis are they saying they got this information? So it's painful and it's not true. Nothing close to it at all. Nothing happened. Nobody got any 1 naira.
It's possible that the NLC might, because sometimes you will say if the ear doesn't hear, then the mouth will probably not see anything. It's possible the NLC didn't get the accurate figure. Maybe they got it wrong. Is it? If it's not 100 million naira, how much could it have been?
Palliative to do what? Is it to take to the constituency or for yourself? Because the issue is, if you are saying, like I said, there's no smoke without fire. Mm-hmm. So if they are saying that, okay, they said take so amount as constituency allowance or as palliative to take to your constituent, or what? To do what with it? There's nothing, we've never said anything about any palliative. The only palliative that has gone through the state government. If they said they should route it through the National Assembly members, yes, it will be official. Then everybody will be waiting for the National Assembly member to say, bring it. If the 100 million naira is said, go to the National Assembly member, like they've said, 3 billion that has been sent to the state. If they say, okay, 100 million out of it should go through the National Assembly, well, it's a medium of distribution. Then we would have known. Then I would have said, okay, this is my own. My constituent will come around and we'll decide on how to go about it. Is it to buy rice? Is it to buy farm implants, you need to do whatever you want to do with it. But in a situation where nothing happened, and you are now instigating the people, if you want to go on strike, yes, they have freedom to do it. But don't call a dog a bad name to hang it. You don't have to get us involved in it. If you want to go on strike, if the best we can think about now is to go on strike where the president is doing his best to ensure that we make something out of the bad situation. We have a bad situation. Nobody is envious of our situation now. None of us is proud of where we find ourselves in Nigeria today, but we must get out of it. Hard decisions must be taken. It's very easy for Mr. President to say, let's continue with the fuel subsidy. At least I'm going to use 4 or 8 years, and then I'll be out of the office. Then we'll continue with the distribution of dollar, allocating dollar to your friends and your cronies at 400 naira, and then you sell it at 800 naira. Yes, we'll be very happy. Even many people are not even happy with Mr. President. People in his own camp too will not be happy that this is our own time. You're supposed to continue the president. Why are you stopping it during our own time? Maybe
the NLC, blew the alarm when they have not really, they don't have a claim to that. But could it have been a preemptive move to what is probably to come?
You see, there's nothing to come. Before you can do anything, you must have it in your budget. Do they see anything as palliative in our own budget as National Assembly? What we did last was the supplementary budget. And the only thing they were saying then was, okay, they said they should give 40 billion naira to buy vehicles. And nobody has bought any vehicle. Nobody has bought even any furniture. Budget is a statement of intention, financial statement of intention, what we intend to do, all things being equal. If you have the money, you do. If you don't have the money, you continue with your life. Everybody has been providing whatever is using in his office personally now. Because it's very even difficult for you to even be talking about you need this in your office when the whole situation is so bad. So nobody has even gotten a TV or a radio or anything you have in your office today, you have brought in it yourself. So it's very bad at this period because this kind of a thing that started the NSAS issue. Yes, the police would not say the police were not heady at a point in time, but people orchestrated the whole thing and turned it into a fracas. Because you are not careful at this stage, and you get to your constituency, and people say, you collect 100 million naira, and you're taking it to your house. Before you know it, people start harassing you, and everything will go haywire. So please, I want to appeal to the NLC. There's freedom of expression. You decide what you want to do. Although, personally, I even believe they too, sometimes they even break the law.
In what way?
When you picket on people, freedom of expression, freedom of association, doesn't even allow NLC to say people who don't want to go on strike must go on strike. Like they went switching up the national grid. These are things that would have cost lives of innocent Nigerians. You have a choice. It's freedom of association. Nobody should be forced to even join any association in Nigeria. If you decide to join, if you don't decide to join, it's your private, personal assignment or responsibility. So they go around picketing on hospitals, especially hospitals and power installations. These are very critical sectors that we should not joke with, no matter what happens. The police to security, you can't just picket on there and say police should go on strike. Doctors should go on strike, even when the state is paying. I will not say because the federal government is not paying or another state is not paying. You now force a governor that is doing perfectly well, and you now force his staff to go on strike. These are issues. So we want to appeal to them. If they have an issue, yeah, we'll solve it. And I believe most of their problems is not even with the state government. It's with the federal government. And Mr. President is doing his best at that level. Things are bad. Mr. President didn't start all this. He's just coming in for just 100 days. And most of his cabinet are first-timer in federal government. Some of them could have been governors, and they have done perfectly well at their own state level. Our major problem has been the federal government. And we all know that, yes, we have a situation at the federal government. How do we now make sure that we reorganize the federal system? And that is where the problem is. So it's not easy. So Mr. President has taken hard decisions now, and right. I'm happy that many Nigerians are following along with him. I believe Labour never thought Nigerians could understand Mr. President. Maybe they thought immediately Mr. President takes some of these decisions, the nation will go on fire.
Right.
And they are not seeing that happen, so they want to now look at another arena. If your subsidiary, the Labour Party, have lost, you do have to take it out, on us.
All right. That said, of course, we are all mindful of the issues in the country which you have done your best to address so far, noting, of course, that is well within the right of Labour to make their move in terms of embarking on strike, and It's spoken about how that the welfare of Nigerians is paramount on their mind. We'll get to, thrash some more about Labour's justification at this point, but I want to take you back to a point you made earlier on, because this issue of the alleged 100 million naira awarded to each lawmaker is not exactly new. Months back, I think before your inauguration, this current inauguration, or around the time, the issue of palliatives is not exactly new in the polity, and the engagement between the executive and the legislature regarding loans that needed to be made for the benefit of Nigerians to cushion the effect of the fuel subsidy, and then of course the issue of the purchase of vehicles, renovation of National Assembly. All of these issues were awash in the polity at a time. You've spoken briefly about it. I want you to, fully address it now, because Labour's basis is the lawmakers at the federal level don't appear to understand what we Nigerians are feeling. You talked about a budget, but tell us more about how do all these reflections of fuel subsidy removal, how is it playing out before you as lawmakers? Are you really feeling what people are feeling?
We are Nigerians, and whatever is felt by the people is felt by the National Assembly members, because you see, at home, everybody come to us. Look, 2 days ago, one of my constituents has a medical issue with his wife. His wife actually had a medical issue. I have to call Loot. Okay, take the woman there. She was actually bleeding. To stop, he got to Loot. They say he has to pay 300,000 naira. He had to call me back. Immediately called. Okay, don't worry, continue. Unfortunately, we still lost the woman because they had to go to two other hospitals before they said they were on strike. The time lag between the time they were moving out from one hospital to the other, by the time they got to Loot, it was too late. You see, these are part of the issues. And when it comes to all this commitment, whatever is people, they come to us at the end of the day. So now, you said something about them. The only 100 million naira you can be talking about was actually the budgetary provision per federal constituency in the budget for capital projects. What we agreed on was every constituency must have an envelope where they can say what are the projects you want in your area. So it's just for everyone to make sure that while we are doing the bigger projects, the Third Mainland Bridge, the Lagos-Ibadan Express Road, there must be projects in each constituency. I'm not in the National Assembly. I was part of the Night Assembly. Because of that project, that arrangement alone, I've been able to have about 3 schools in my federal constituency, a 12 classroom block, a 6 classroom block, another 3 classroom block. I've been able to have an health center which has been converted to an annex for the Federal Medical Center. Been able to do about close to a kilometer road on the Elekosolo-Alade Coastal Road. Other projects. So
it is worded specifically for constituency projects?
Yes, maybe that's only one. Maybe if you, because you said there have been some issue about 100 million. These have been what we have been.
Okay, so it's not a new figure. It's not a new 100 million.
So if they are talking, if that is what they really mean, but that's not a palliative. But that is a budget of the ministry. If you are given an envelope, okay, what are the projects you want to nominate in your own area?
And it is not new.
It's not new. So what you just do, that's what they call constituency projects. So what I just do is, okay, I want a school. But you must look at the figure of the ministry. How much does a school cost? If it is 60 million for building a 6 classroom block, okay, I want one of these. Then you see what the other 40 million can do. Then you pick. Then you send it to the ministry. It's executed by the ministry. All we can just do is at least I've facilitated it. So when the commission, they facilitated by so person. That's all you can do. And at the end of the day, you are sure that at least projects are spread within the 360 federal constituency in the country. If not for that project, there wouldn't have been anything in Bejuleki today that would be called federal presence. Because there's no road, major road that passed through the local government. There's no facility that's been within the federal constituency of Bejuleki. But for this constituency project, I can now say in the last dispensation, I have 3 new schools built in Bejuleki. I have a federal medical center now sited in Bejuleki.
So does it mean that the 100 million naira...
I don't know if that's what they are now talking about. If that's what they are talking about,
that was in the last dispensation.
Yes.
So is it a pegged amount, or is it something that will be increased, for this this dispensation?
The budget, 2023 budget, had been done before this dispensation comes in. So until
and it's running.
It's running, and even because of the situation we have now, even the federal government have not been able to fund any of this project for now.
Because still talking about the constituency project.
Even because your constituency project is part of the ministry's project. Only that I just want something to say I facilitated this. If the ministry is expected to build 300 schools in Southwest, maybe 300 6-classroom blocks in Southwest, and at the end of the day, maybe each of the members facilitated one. At least by that, there still be the 360. But there will be the one facilitated by the honorable members that I can put my name to and say, I facilitated this. It's not that you are going to build or you have the money or you see the money.
And the way these monies are utilized, because, there is trust deficit, between the representatives, and talk about representatives, I'm not referring to you, whoever is in government, and the people. So is there a way people get to have, transparency of the utilization of these monies, so that they will see that what the monies were budgeted for were duly utilized?
And let me even build on that, Honorable Balogun. You will get to that point, because if every lawmaker does what you say they are supposed to do, I mean, the level of development in Nigeria should have gone way beyond what we are seeing. You've spoken for Bejuleki, but we may not be able to say the same for every other places. We've seen how, controversial constituency projects have become.
You see, there are many factors affecting this. Sometimes it's not just enough building, facilitating a structure. Sometimes political intrigues makes nonsense out of these projects.
How so?
Yeah, primary schools are actually under the local government. Secondary schools are actually under the states. So as a federal lawmaker, you don't actually have any of these projects under you. But you can only just facilitate a building. Then if it's a primary school, it must be given to the local government to manage. If it is a secondary school, it falls under TESCOM to manage. So you must do that link. The one in my constituency, the secondary school now has been handed over to TESCOM, is Olisolu Junior Secondary School. It's starting up this week because we've done the handing over. And if I'm not speaking about it, nobody will know.
No. If you are not speaking about it, nobody will know.
Yes.
But it's your duty to carry people along.
Because if I'm not on this studio now, you wouldn't have been aware.
So
but we have it on social media. Yes, we have it on social. I have my page.
Okay.
In my community, people know. Politics is local. It is what have you done? If you call any youth in my local government, they'll tell you what the projects I've done. Likewise in other areas too.
Tell us about this tracker you were mentioning earlier.
The tracker is one of the, I think it's one of the civil societies that actually developed it. So they go through the budget, they see constituency projects in every area.
Huh? Are you referring to budget?
Budget 2 is one of it. We have a particular one tracker. They have different groups.
Oh, okay, so it's not one.
It's not one. They have different. So if you want to find out anything, Google tracker, and by the time you get the app,
that's right.
You put the local government, they'll tell you what projects are under the constituency project in that area. So many of the youth in my own local government are aware of it. So anytime they score me themselves, they print it out and they give score mark And they say, yes, you've done this, you've done this, you've done this. So,
right.
like we say, politics is local.
It's local.
Everybody know what is happening in their own area. So it's not just for NLC to come out and say this. In my federal constituency, they know that we have a constituency project, and we always discuss it. And I will tell you, because there's nothing that what can 1 million, 100 million naira do in the whole federal constituency, especially Bejuleki. Bejuleki is made up of a quarter of the total landmass of Lagos. So it cannot even do 100 meters road of concrete and drainage like we have in the water-logged areas. So we have to talk to them so that nobody will get angry that you have not done his own area. Look, this is what we have. These are what we are going to do. We all have to agree. Then you send it into the agency, and they will also follow up.
All right. Another form of feedback from the people, your representatives, or your constituents, so to speak, is the issue of allowances. You spoke briefly on the issue of vehicles, which also fueled so much uproar. You're a returning lawmaker, and Nigerians wondered why there should be another budget, so to speak, or another plan or proposal to buy new vehicles for lawmakers. After all, not all of you returned, but the issue of allowances, how do you justify them?
Which allowances?
But you spoke earlier about the vehicles, about
Yes.
the new vehicles. You said that it was rested at a point that that is even what I want you to talk about, because that was also part of the issue. Then the issue of renovating, the buildings, your offices, and all of that. Kindly clarify on that point.
When it comes to renovation, that is done by the Federal Capital Territory. It's not under the National Assembly. The building is owned by the Federal Capital Territory Development Agency. So they carry out renovation exercise as at when due. So when it comes to vehicles, whatever is you are given a vehicle and you're expected to use it for 4 years, and at the end of 4 years, they look at the value, and if you want to buy it, you pay. Because you see, when we started this monetization, because we have to look at what are the reasons why some of these things are done. You see, when you come in as any political officer or civil servant, and you are given a vehicle, partly a used vehicle, they start writing proposals on repairs. At the end of the day, what they'll be spending on repair is more than even buying a whole vehicle within a year. So government decided to say, okay, whatever you do now, we will monetize it for you. You go with whatever you have, and then if you want to buy, you buy. We know that a vehicle is going to cost so X amount, and the depreciation value will be so within 4 years, so that nobody will now start writing and saying, I want to change my tire today. If you say you want to change your tire, I know your tire was not 40, then me too, I will write. Everybody will start writing. So then it became a very huge expenditure for government, and that's why they even canceled the issue of giving houses to lawmakers. At the first dispensation, there were these legislative houses in Abuja. They rather sold it, because what people were using to renovate at the end of the day was actually more than what they will even give you to go and rent your houses. Okay, so that was what brought in monetization into the system. Right.
That being said, there are still...
But let me clear one area. You see, one of the problems we're having with these allowances and allowances that is talking about, when you Google salary and allowances of the lawmaker, they will give you on yearly basis. But people take that as monthly basis. That is a major problem. It's supposed to be, it's annual. Anything in the service is annual. Your rent, your whatever they write is annual. So instead of dividing it by 12, people say this is what you get on monthly basis. That is where this crisis is actually coming from.
Right. Because of our time, I wanted to respond to people's people clamoring for the fact that Nigeria spends a lot. Governance. There's a lot of monies that are actually going into governing this country. So they've called for unicameral legislature, that the Senate should be scrapped, and then we know we have and then lawmakers should be on the part-time basis. So where do you stand in all of this? Because we need to reduce the cost of governance.
Look, you see, the issue is you go in for what we agreed on. If tomorrow we say we want unicameral system. We all go
Who will
for
do
it.
it? It is still through the Constitution, and you are in charge of that.
No, you see, we are members of the National Assembly waiting for whatever amendments people bring in. I'm a lawmaker. Doesn't mean I'm a lawyer. I'm an economist. If it's the people that will say this is what we want, when the people say this is what we want, you bring in an amendment, someone will sponsor it. At the end of the day, this is what we actually want the people to do. I am the chairman of the, on electoral matters, for example. I've listened to most of the cases. There are issues that I felt we should still continue to communicating with stakeholders on electoral laws, on our electoral act. I've been talking to stakeholders. I've spoken with Jaga, I've spoken with Plaque, and I expect civil societies to come with what they see, what they observe, to present. You see, I'm not supposed to be a lawyer to be a lawmaker. It is what the stakeholders, people who are actually using this law. The criminal act can only be amended by the Nigerian Bar Association. They know what are the problems they have in the law. So if Nigerians feel that we need a unicameral legislature, it is for them, for us to agree, and they bring it to the House. Once they bring it and we all agree as Nigerians, there will be public hearing.
And speaking of the Electoral Act, which was amended, you know, we saw how it all went down. Do you foresee, or what do you foresee with all that we've seen in the election petition tribunal so far? Another amendment, is that in the offing?
Sure, you see, law are bound to be changed based on what you see. And but on one thing is, like, I'm very happy that we had the live telecast of the presidential tribunal. That was the first time Nigerians could actually understand why judges take some decisions. It was so explicit. Even a layman could understand why these decisions were taken. In fact, if that was not done, probably there would have been crisis in Nigeria today. Because maybe that's one of the areas NLC was banking on, and they thought that didn't work. So Nigerians need to understand the law. First of all, you don't go to a court with sentiments. You go with proofs. The judge will tell you, based on the fact before me, not because of the truth. The judge don't know the truth. It's what you are able to present to the judge. So, but at the end of the day, if you still feel there are some areas that needed to be amended, then it is the stakeholders that will come together and say, okay, you know, we'll be able to do this. Okay, maybe probably why can't you try this and this? And the area that we'll actually be talking about in the electoral, where they are talking about this transmission, yes. The law never said INEC should transmit. What we said was the use of electronics, the use of card reader or any other electronic devices that can be deployed by INEC. Nothing said about transmission. The only transmission we spoke about was that it must be pasted and it must be on INEC website.
All right. Honorable Bayo Balogun, that's all the time that we have, you know, on this subject. We'll definitely bring you back to take you up on, you know, the issue of the Electoral Act and all that can be done to enhance our electoral system in Nigeria. We thank you very much.
Thank you.
Honorable Bayo Balogun, representing Ibeju-Lekki Federal Constituency at the House of Representatives. Thanks for your time with us on TVC Breakfast.